Mhm. I think we can make a start. The recording has started now.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Good evening, everyone. I hope you can see my screen here. Everyone, Rachit, you can confirm again. Yeah, Umesh,
Yeah.
you can see my screen.
Yes,
Yes,
we
Good.
can.
yes.
So, guys, welcome to D365 User Group India, and we welcome you here in this group. And thank you very much for joining this today on Sunday evening. I know this is a personal time of everyone, but I appreciate you care for the upskilling yourself, care for the community. That's why you are all are here. Okay, so today we have Umesh Pandit, our speaker. So he'll be starting his session very soon. I just want to start the session with a brief introduction about the group and about the volunteers here who are working to make all this possible. And then we'll start the session with Umesh. And we'll finish the session with what's coming next after this session, like what's coming after 3 weeks, the next session, and how can you contribute to this community. Okay, and for your information, this session will be recorded and uploaded on our YouTube channel. So you can also watch it later, or people who can't attend today, they can also watch. Right, so this group, which we started 2 months back, and this is one of the group, basically like now, there are many groups who are working to share the knowledge of D365 globally. And this is, I think, one of the largest group in India right now. And why we are doing it? But definitely we want to stay connected for the latest technology. Like, the technology is changing every day. D365 changing every day, right? All these new tools which you were not there before, like it was just CRM and ERP, right? And now there are hundreds of new platform, new technologies every day being launched by Microsoft, right? So we have to stay connected, right? So it's also a great platform to know your community who all are working in your network, right? And also in the background, you're making sure that you are shaping your career, right? It is being taken care of by itself when you are uh, updated with the latest technology, right? And how are we doing it? Like we are doing these sessions, we are using the other technology platforms like YouTube or Twitter, LinkedIn, and also we are creating the reusable assignments. We will be recording the session, we'll be sharing across all the platforms, right? So not only you, rather like anyone globally can view these sessions. Right, so this is our volunteer group who is increasing in numbers day by day. We started with Rachit Garg, he's the founder member. With Paresh and Rahul, I joined just last month. And then today we are also welcoming our new volunteer, Umesh Pandit, young, dynamic, and D365 and expert. He's so we'll hear from him directly. What he's up to and what he's doing nowadays. And fortunately, he's also the presenter today. So after this slide, I'll hand over to him so he can introduce himself and and also his session definitely. Right, and how to join the group? Definitely, you guys must have joined the group by now. If not, you can scan this QR code to join our LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube channel, and try to share it more and more in your friends and communities. And Rachit will also be sharing the link. If you can't scan this QR code, just click on those links and join the groups. Any question you have, you can post in the chat group here. We'll be trying to reply side by side. Rachit and our Paresh is here. I'll be here. So now this is the opportunity I hand over to Umesh. Umesh, please introduce yourself, and you can also start the session.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Satya, for the brief introduction, and thank you all for joining the session today. And I once again welcome you all for this session. This session is morely focused on Azure, on Dynamics, basically how Dynamics is interconnected, and how the application is tightly built up. Before I start with the session, I will introduce myself. I'm having 12 years of experience into finance and operations, like not completely 12 years into finance and operations, but in Dynamics overall. I started in 2008, around 2008, and with Navision as a developer, and then gradually changed my gears to AX, which is AX 2009 those days, and then back and forth like 3.0, 4.0, 5.0, 6.0, and now finance and operations. So all those kind of versions I have been working on. And in between, in 2013, I found that there are a couple of infrastructures which is actually moving on cloud. That time I was not aware that it will be a drastic change in Azure for finance and operations also. So everything actually backed up by Azure nowadays. If we talk about cloud, so that's where I am at a heading. I am a solution architect on Azure as well as on finance and operations. So if you have any questions, definitely you can post it on group as well as on the chat over here. And if we are having time, we will definitely get the question answered over here itself. If not, if there is a time scarcity, we will do it on the forum. Okay, so let's the ball rolling. I will just share my screen today. Hope everyone can see my screen now, and I'm clearly audible.
Yes, Umesh. Yep.
Okay, thank you. So when we start about the Dynamics finance and operation and Azure, what is the interconnection? So when we talk about anything like your Office 365 IDs nowadays you are using, it's actually pay as you go. Okay, so pay as you go means you monthly pay your sessions and then continue it. Now, what happens with this is once it is a subscription based, is actually heading towards the SaaS, like software as a service. Now, same technology was picked up by Dynamics. So when you use Dynamics as on cloud on the basis of subscription, it is actually referring to SaaS model of Azure. That means software as services. Now, in this session, we will understand about the list of services. We will talk about the LCS. We will also talk about the Azure automation, how we can do the automations. We will also talk about the Azure connectors, project settings, SharePoint, how SharePoint is integrated with LCS or Azure, how it is backed up by Azure. And we will also see the Azure DevOps and one box automation, followed by the question answer session. Okay, so this is I am already talked about it. Most of the people who here in the group as a presenter or the moderator in the group and the attendees are already connected with me. Those who are not connected, please follow or connect with me on the LinkedIn with this particular QR code. Okay, so when we talk about Azure, Azure is actually a public cloud. And when we talk about Dynamics, Dynamics has two separate clouds actually within it. Before giving you an example, I will just share the LCS project. So this is my LCS window, if you see. Now in this, we have the production and UAT. So I will just use my notepad as well. So why I said we have two clouds. So we see we have T2, the two-tier environments, and then we have the tier one environments. So tier one is backed up by Azure cloud. And this is actually T2 or prod. T2 is tier two, T1 is tier one. This is also called cloud hosted environments. And these are actually hosted with the help of the Azure connector and backed up by the Azure cloud. The prod or the T1, T2, T3 environments are actually hosted on Microsoft cloud. Obviously, this cloud is Azure, but this is not accessible. Okay, so T2 and above environments are completely not accessible. There are few features which Microsoft is releasing day by day, like you can access the SSMS, that is your SQL servers, in read-only mode or in edit mode. Wherever the request type is requested, they will be giving you access for eight hours, and then the access will be revoked. So that's the kind of security Microsoft is providing. But definitely on production you can't do it. But I will show how there are some features which can be used on production also for setting up the queries or that sort of mechanism. If I'm able to open my one of the production environment, let's see how it goes and how the time permits. So I will go back to the slides. So when we talk about the Azure, as we talk about, it is in public cloud. And then this offers, the Azure offers the feature called access control. How the access control is there? When we talk about the customers, those who are actually hosting cloud hosted environments. So when we talk cloud hosted environments, the cloud hosted environments resides in the, we have to click on the LCS. Once we click on the LCS, we go to the project. This is the project URL, and this is our project ID. So this will be changing as and when the customer onboards. This will be the unique number giving to the project, assigned to the project actually. Okay, so based on that, you will get it. So I was talking about, you can go to the hamburger sign, click on this, and then you click on the cloud hosted environment. So once you click on the cloud hosted environments, it will show you the list of cloud hosted environments. Here I have a big list. Okay, all this is in internal. Okay, so this is all cloud hosted environments. The nomenclature can depend. Then again, based on your versions, it will show up over here. Now we must be wondering how this is connected, or what happens. There are a couple of scenarios where I have addressed that you are a partner company. Now, for the first time, you want to onboard the customer. How to onboard the customer for the first time? So the basic need. Sorry.
Sorry, I think.
No, carry on, Umesh.
Oh, sorry. So when we talk about the very first time of the onboarding, I know I'm going apart from Azure, but I will come to that point. But this is more important topic or questions people is asking nowadays. So first thing is you need one Office 365 ID of an client. It can be any ID like admin, or office @ let's suppose your client name is xyz.com. Okay, so this ID is needed. Once this ID is you have, once you order the subscription from Microsoft, this ID should be shared to the Microsoft guy. Okay, so whether this has the mailbox or not, remember, mailbox is not important. The important is the ID. If you have the ID, go ahead and log into LCS portal. And once you log into the LCS portal with this ID, you will ask to accept the licenses of the LCS. Once you say yes, you will be entered and welcomed. And then you will have to create a project. This project will be implementation. Okay. If you're creating the prospect, so that is also possible. But over here, you cannot create the prospect. You cannot actually create a cloud hosted environment. You cannot create. You cannot connect. You can't create cloud hosted environment, or you can't connect. The word is connect. You can't connect the Azure connector. Okay, now I will just show up that Azure connector. So there are a couple of steps I was discussing about the onboarding of the customers. This is the 4 important things which to be needed. Now, once you create a implementation project, after that there are more questions about how we can connect this connector. So for the first time, you need to authorize this. Whether you are a partner or a customer, you should authorize this. Once you authorized, what will happen in the backend? See on the top, it is giving the consent. So once I authorize, my authorization is already completed. In the authorization in the backend, what will happen? It will log into Azure portal and create a WSFD. The complete word I'm not sure. I will just give you. I will show it on the Azure. It will create a user with this, plus it will also create a resource group. Okay, that is also I will give you. I will just show you. Okay, so once this is done, you will be able to authorize the consent. So I will come to this. I will go back to the previous slides. I think I made you clear that what all things are required for onboarding a customer. So this is the primarily thing which are already always needed actually. Now, when we talk about Azure, Azure is actually very secure, and it gives the access control feature, and it allows the complete restriction of the cloud hosted environment, as well as it also restricts the access to your production environment. Okay, it is already attached with your Azure Active Directory. So based on the roles, you will be able to control your permission on the LCS, and then outside the LCS also on the Office 365 tenant. Now, when it comes to when it comes to the access control, we can also enable people having the restricted access to cloud hosted environment, wherein a customer wants just to have the internal IP. Okay, so as we all know that whenever we create a Azure system, Azure VM through the LCS or outside the LCS, we get 2 IPs. So one IP is the public IP. The second IP is the internal IP. That is your private IP. So how we can actually log in with the help of the internal IP, that is your private IP, and we can actually restrict the access of the public IPs. So how we can do that, we will look into the session soon. But this is how the security works. Even if the customer is demanding that, no, I don't want to expose the public IP to the to my developers, they can only connect with the internal IPs, then that is also a possible case. Now we will talk about the okay, so we will talk about the quick setup. So when we talk about Dynamics in relation with the finance, in relation with the Azure, once you are connected with the Azure connector, when you try to create the virtual machine, it is very quickly. Once you start the once the environment is queued, it changes the states to deploying, and within 6 to 8 hours, it will be deployed state. In tier 2, it is much faster. In production, that is more faster than the tier 2. But on the tier 1, it takes 4 to 5 hours, but Microsoft is working on an deployment wherein it reduces the time. But when we talk about the individual environment through the Azure, it's within seconds. It triggers the environment within 30 seconds. Like once you click OK and things are validated, it will create a virtual machine instantly within 30 seconds. So that I have experimented, whether it is an Windows or Linux. So let's not talk about that wherein there is no dynamics. So we'll move forward. So that's more on the quick setup. Same way, if you want to have the hybrid cloud also, if you want to merge your local data centers or local office premises virtual machines into the Dynamics, yes, you can load the virtual machines on the local hardware also, but the overhead expenses are more. That's the reason people even migrate. Initially, they set up the session, set up the virtual machines within their data centers, and later they move to cloud. So we have the proven examples in Columbus itself. So don't worry, we have done lots of projects within that. Even there are teammates who has done in my company. They have joined the session. So I think Bharat has done some of the good projects. So I can take that feedback from him if you want. Then when we talk about the quick setup, we also talk about the developers where developer wants to have the integration. So the second thing is integration is also possible very quickly. And then there is no worry about the maintaining the on-premises databases because we have the hybrid cloud. Okay, so we don't have to worry on any of your databases which is there in on-premises. We can definitely roll out the Azure SQL. The cost of implementation drastically it decreases. And when we talk about the custom links, we don't have to create custom links as and when we require it for the order to expose or something like we might be doing some integration. And this is easy to adapt. The Dynamics itself on Azure is easy to adapt. Now we will go back we will move forward with the next topic, which is built for each other. So Azure and Dynamics, when you actually work with Azure, work with Dynamics on LCS, you will see that there is seamless access on the way you deploy, you manage, you build the application. It is all seamless, reliable on Azure, and you think that it is actually built for each other. Okay, that we say there was a famous ad which talks about made for each other. It is built for each other. Okay, so basically Azure offers an impressive hybrid cloud for enterprises for all sizes adopting the Dynamics 365. You must heard about that recent there. You must have known about the Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola was actually the Coke which you drink was actually primarily on the SAPs, but they actually implemented, I think in 2013 they implemented 2009 and then migrated to 2012, and recently they are actually changing the complete ecosystem to Dynamics. Okay, Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations built on Azure. Okay, so that's the beauty wherein the complexity is reduced, eased out, and they are built for each other so that you can actually host the Dynamics on Azure, as well as you can actually use the tools which are available like DevOps, like your build automations, like your automations within the Azure. All those can be used. Even you can use the Power Platform. Okay, so let's move forward with the next slide, which gives you the access control. I have discussed this access control, but this gives you the more control, wherein I talked about the tier 2 environments, wherein you have the access control, wherein once you need, based on your ID, it will give you the permission. Again, you need to add your IP also, so that you can access the databases. So that's the level of security it has. That's the level of logging technology it has. And also Microsoft is working in the backend, wherein it can actually have the seamless access on the Azure Active Directory, wherein you have the RBAC roles, which is already there in Azure. And once you have it, you will be seamlessly accessing the LCS environments also. So I think something will come up soon. Okay, so park your questions and you can start asking questions also if you have on the group, and seamlessly we will give you the solutions or answers to that. Same way, it has the encryption. So Dynamics on Azure is fully encrypted. Okay, so when we talk about the databases in the backend, when we talk about the Azure systems, the local disk C drive is also encrypted. It also follows the rules of GDPR, which is talks about the general data protection regulations, and it's the most trusted cloud. Even the US government says so. That means even the US government is having the Azure as their hosting partners. Okay, so when we talk about Dynamics, Dynamics stores the sensitive data of your customer. Your client information is stored, your payment gateways, everything is stored within that. So that should be more secure than any other applications. Okay, so it also has more than 18 services, which is covered on an FedRAMP high authorizations. And it also have more than 70 compliance covering, which is actually again governed by the GDPR. Uh, GDPR, basically the General Data Protection Regulation. Okay, so let's talk about the backup, how the backup is taken. When we talk about the LCS, we have seen that we take the backups we need to refresh our pre-production from production, or we need to refresh our UAT from production. That is very easy. In earlier days, in nowadays also, people, those who are coming from the 2012 background, they know what is the pain they have. But in Dynamics, that is very quite simple and very it's in just in few clicks. No need to enter any database, no need to back up anything. Just click, say movement, and say press export. That's it. Okay, so that database will be saved on your LCS. Okay, so artificial intelligence is something which is coming in most of the Dynamics features. If you see, I think Rachit also took some sessions around the order management. The intelligence or order management is based on your artificial intelligence. I'm not sure whether he has taken or he might be taking sessions, but I have seen somewhere that he was doing something, but he will throw some lights at the end of the session surely. And the Power BI, obviously we know how people are extensively using Power BI reports, and its usability, display, the systems, the kind of visuals it presents is actually lovely. And management, the top CTO, CIO level people like that, the CFO level people like that functionality. They can within seconds they can know that their business is going down or up with the help of the visualizations. Whether it is a red mark, that means it is saying that it is actually red zone, wherein the business is going down or somewhere like that. Same way, in Power BI, what we see that it can actually collaborate the data from different sources, not only from one sources, it is different sources. And then we have lots of other functionality, like we have the data lake, data bricks, the Azure Factory, data factory. We have not we are not speaking on that, but actually it involves the Azure. All those are built on Azure. So we will move ahead and talk about the list of services which are present. Okay, so any questions till now? Should I continue? Are we all good?
Umesh, there are two questions which we have answered, but would be good to get your views. One is from Kishore: is connecting to LCS only with Office account? If customer is using Google as their email domain, should customers create Office account?
No, that is not needed. If you are having G Suite, if you are having any other account, that is also welcomed. You just need to sign up for the outlook.com. Just go there, sign up, and put your ID and just the password. You should be able to get into the uh, Microsoft account with your G Suite ID also. Okay, so anybody having any issues, I can again give you the demos on that as well. Okay. Yeah. Second question.
Yeah, so just to clarify, so do we need to create an on Microsoft account to get our LCS provisioned?
Yeah, that can also be used, but the recommended is to have your the verified domain. So let's suppose I'm owning a domain called Columbus Noida at Columbus Noida on Microsoft.com. So that is actually on Microsoft.com, the Azure Active Directory. But it would be good if I get the verified domain as columbusnoida.com. So that is more convenient to use. But nobody will restrict you to use Columbus Noida on Microsoft.com. Okay, so that is also welcomed.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think these were the questions. You can continue with the session. Thanks.
Okay, so let's move on the list of services. So I know most of the people are already aware what are the services which are being used, but I will discuss now that it is about the project settings. This is the project settings which I have. I will just quickly share my again DLCS, and let's go to the project settings. So I will explain this because I know most of the development people, technical people, rather I would say, and the functional people, they will say, okay, this will be managed by the administrator people or an infrastructure or the project manager. But this is how it can be. If you want to change the implementation project name, definitely you can change it from here. Okay, so these are the tokens which have been I have to renew it. So I have marked it in the project that DevOps token will expire on this particular time. Now, when we talk about the organization and the ownership, this talks about that who all are actually partners, who all are actually the customers. So if you can see, it has the mix, like Microsoft also is a partner.
Sorry to interrupt. Screen is not visible.
Okay, is that the case with everyone?
No, we can see. Sorry, can you rejoin?
We could see list of services slide.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, I will just reshare it again. Yeah, it is visible now.
I can see the project setting.
Yes. Okay, so this is project settings, and I'm on the organization and the ownership. Vivek, can you see that?
No, I'll rejoin. I think there is some issue.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so this is absolutely needed when we talk about the Azure connector. This will come again, so we can skip this, and then we have the SharePoint Online library. So if you see that without this also I can trigger the tier 2 involvement, but this is we can have the good idea to actually point to the SharePoint URL. Normally what happens, I will just quickly open my, give me a minute. I will just open the office.com. Okay, so here we go. We have the office.com. And we have the admin portal, as well as we have the SharePoint. So I will show the SharePoint. This is how you go to the SharePoint, wherein you have this particular SharePoint URL. We need to map it. So it is the org.sharepoint.com and then the sites and then example. So what we have to do, you have to go to this office.com and click on the SharePoint link. It will open my default SharePoint website. So what I will do, I will create this for my project. So I will just say it is the team site, and I will say it as a LCS project. Okay, so it is just verifying the name. I will, yeah, this is my URL which is available. Okay, so I'll just copy this and say, okay, so only, okay, I will just make it as a private and say next. Okay, so I will add my additional owners. I will add my manager and my colleague Bharat Sahu and team member as Tosif. Oh, yes, he's there. So I'll just finish. Okay, so this is created. As we know that I have already created a URL. I got the URL, so I'll just come here and say save it. Okay, so what it is doing, it is actually verifying the URL and the access, and once this is done, it will pop up that the connection was successful. Perfect. So it is, see, it got successfully created, saved. Sorry, this is taking some time. Okay, so in the meanwhile, it is just thinking, do we have any questions? Yeah, so right now it has been mapped and it is showing that SharePoint online site is this. Okay, same way when we talk about the Azure DevOps. So I think that Azure DevOps might not be there. Yeah, it is already there. And the token is not configured. So what you can do, you can just say change and you might see the token. So from here, what you can do, go to this project, open it in the new tab within the same browser so that, oh, so you don't have the access. Okay, so might be the case that I have not figured it out, but this is how you do it. I will just explain this. So once you open the IUR domain, this particular visualstudio.com, okay, go to the visualstudio.com like this. Okay, and sign in with the proper account. Yeah, it is getting up. Okay, so I don't want to create the organization right now since we are already having the DevOps settings, but I'm just telling you that this is how you do it. So let's suppose we have already created one. I'll just go here and I will talk about this personal access token. This is called the PAT token. That's sure that many of you might be knowing what this is, but I will show you that how it can be accessed. Let me go to this. Oh, I think there is some access information. Maybe leave it. Okay, so this personal access token can be gained through, you have to go to the Azure DevOps. After going to Azure DevOps, there will be a user ID, and then click on that, and there like this you have the partner organization and the login details. Over here you will see the token. Okay, just click on that and it will be you can actually choose the 1 year or 2 year validation and then paste it here. And obviously you need to save that token so that it is not deleted. Okay, so otherwise once you have forgotten or if you have gone through that, if you have closed the DevOps site, you cannot get the same token again. You have to reset it. Okay. Okay, so now we will go ahead and go back and talk about the connector. So this is important. when we talk about the connector, okay, so how these connectors can be established. So what we have to do, we have to go to portal.azure.com, we have to go to home, and we need to select our organization subscription, sorry. And my subscription is, oh, this is very difficult. I will go to this, and from here I will go to the subscription. Zubair is my manager. If you can see how this subscription stands, this is CSP. We are the CSP partners of Microsoft. Zubair is my manager, the developers manager, not my manager, but we are good friends. And then it is for the GDC developers. So this is our internal, which we have which we have been doing it. So like this, you can also follow some of the nomenclatures in Azure. Then I was talking about how you can go ahead and look for the how you can set up this project settings on the Azure connector side. Remember, I have given you a indication that this is important. And once you log in to Azure, you need to define, it will create in the connector, it will create a user and the resource group. So go to this and then go to the access control. So once you are here, what you have to do, you have to click on add. You need to provide the name. I will just copy the name. Let's suppose I have this as name. I will go one step back and try to show it. So I will go here and say the name. If I don't want to use name, I want to just say Umesh test. That is also possible. No problem. Name is not the mandatory term. The mandatory thing is the ID. Just copy this. Go to the project settings. Go here and say paste it and say enable the ARM template. Now, if I click on next, it will just see whether I have this enabled and contributor role is there. So most of us miss this. So how this is created, I have already given you that this user is created when you authorize the project. Okay, so you will get this created once you authorize. It will create a user and the resource group. So while you, what you have to do, this is already done, but I will just show you. You have to go to this access control IAM. So in subscription, we see access control, and in Active Directory, we see roles. Okay, so don't confuse that. If I have invited you as my guest user in Active Directory, I will gain access to subscription, not the case. So both are different things, and both access are controlled very separately. Go to add the role, and you can select the role as contributor. And I have already copied. I will just say paste it, and this will appear. I will just say yes and say save. So this is already there. So it will just say failed because it's already exist. Okay, so for you it will be green symbol and it will be added. Make sense? Okay, so we will move ahead and say next. Now in the next, there is if the access is proper, no need to download and upload. Just say next. It will now ask me to select the region. So if I see the region, Central India, North Europe, South India, West India, West Europe, West Europe is already added 2 times. If I want to select and say I want to go for the East US and say connect, it should connect. It is having the same subscription, no problem. It will, I'm just giving the a new region, so it should accept. There is no absolutely no issues having the lots of subscriptions. See, if you can see, we have lots of subscriptions, different subscriptions, as well as we have different regions for the same subscription also. Okay, so you, in your project, you might see only one region. Why we have created different? Because Columbus is a global company and it has people from Central India, people are from South India, West India, and even people are from Europe and US as well. But this is created now. This is not at a default. I can make it as default from here. Just select the subscription, the connector, and say default. Okay. Perfect. So any questions around this authorization ARM enabled? And also you might see if this ARM enabled is not configured, it will throw the error. So make sure that the ARM is enabled. ARM stands for the Azure Resource Manager. This is the template which Microsoft uses to deploy the virtual machine. Yeah. Any questions?
Yes, Umesh, there are few questions. We can take them.
Okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
So there is a question from Sandeep. Is there any possibility to use different tenants Azure subscription on LCS?
Different tenants.
Sandeep, would you like to unmute and clarify if you want to add more details to this question?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Hi, Umesh. I'm Sandeep actually.
Yep.
So I'm a technical consultant. So
Yes.
we have a scenario recently actually where the 365 license is on different tenant and they have another tenant where they have also subscription. So is there any possibility to use that a different tenant subscription on our LCS? I mean, just to make use of the existing subscription.
Yes, that can be used. I know most of the people might be thinking that this is not a supported case from Microsoft. Yes, I know. But how you can use it? What is the scenario? I understood that there is a already existing tenant and there is already having a subscription. You want to use to create the LCS project and host the cloud hosted environment, correct?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So what you can do for that particular project, let's suppose you have ABC project. Okay, and you already have this is ABC project in LCS. Now what you can do, you have already XYZ tenant. So you just log in the LCS, create everything, everything can be connected. This is the main project. So you can have your UAT plus prod production and your development environments can reside here. Make sense? And even you can connect your DevOps to this tenant. And also you can club your SharePoint also. You need to just work on an trusted resources. Like you need to invite them as a guest. Okay, it will
Okay.
work. Yes,
Okay. Okay.
and
Thank you.
yeah, definitely we can connect offline if you need more information through the channels. We can definitely reply on that. Yes. So any other
Thank
more question? Richard, yeah, welcome.
Yeah.
Sandeep.
Yeah. So just to confirm my understanding also, Mesh, so if we have to configure a Azure connector in your ABC project, then that Azure connector has to be into the tenant where the ABC project LCS is hosted, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, cool.
So
Thank you.
basically when we talk about the setup, this cannot be different than so once we see that once we click on edit, let's suppose, and we see that we need to enable this. Okay, so this will only pop up with your correct tenant. Otherwise, it will give you the error. So definitely you can type in your connector, but that definitely will not succeed because you might not have the access. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yes, that kind of issues you will see.
Right. So
Yes.
Sandeep, one LCS project is linked to one tenant only. Okay. There is another question. Why do we need SharePoint in project settings of LCS? This is from Kishore.
Yeah. So Kishore, what happens is you might see that there are a couple of when you open the project, the complete tier 2 or tier 1, once you open and you see there are Office Online settings, and there are a couple of files also. That files and everything can be stored on this SharePoint. That's the reason we need to map the complete project settings perfectly.
Thank you, Mesh. Yeah, I think, yeah, there was one more question from Arun. Should the role always be contributor?
Yes, role should be always contributor. You cannot decrease the role, or obviously increase is possible, but decreasing the role will definitely be a problem. And the recommended is contributor. Okay, and if you are giving global administrator, then no problem. Your Azure can be screwed up anytime.
Cool, cool. I think Kishore has some
Yes.
follow-up comment. Kishore, please feel free to unmute yourself.
Yeah, Kishore.
Hey, this is Kishore. When you said the SharePoint online, is it for LCS files or is it related to the D365 connecting to any SharePoint? Like if we download a export to Excel, and sometimes I see the SharePoint is not configured or some kind of error I see. Is that related to that?
Yeah, so right now this this SharePoint online library is okay. I will just show you that this is something wherein it will you can actually track your projects in one place and makes visible to the project users. Okay, that's the main objective. But when we talk about the environments, then that is the online documents. It is hosted on the on different altogether a different SharePoint actually.
Yeah. So Kishore, I've shared the link where you have to configure document management within Dynamics instance. That SharePoint is used for document
Yes.
handling. Yeah.
Okay, so mainly
So
that is for document handling.
yes, this is morely focused on the project.
Okay.
Yeah. So your LCS documents or the environment documents is also stored on the SharePoint, but that's the document handling part wherein you can directly use it.
Okay, I'll read this document. Thank you.
Yep, welcome.
Perfect. Thank you, Mesh, for answering those questions. Yeah, I think you can continue. There are no more questions. If there are more questions, we can
Yeah,
take
I'm
them
just
towards
about
the
to.
end. They are
Yeah,
left. Yeah.
sure. Yes, I'm about to finish. So this is all about the DevOps. I wanted to show the configuration, the DevOps. Many questions has already been thrown to me about the configuration automation, but I think within 8 minutes I cannot cover that. So we will definitely have the sessions. I'm a volunteer over here, so definitely my follow-up sessions will be there. Now I will just show you one small automation wherein I have one recently created. The Power BI SSMS virtual machine 2. And I think one of my colleague Toshiv has installed this, but a automation was not done. So I will just show you how a automation can be built. So we can go to the virtual machine. This is the virtual machine in which I have not done the automation. The example in the screenshot, this is different. I have already done it. Okay, so what you have to do, we all know that a auto shutdown can be performed over here. So I will make it as turn on. I will make it as the standard 5 p.m. to turn off. And then, yes, I need the notification. So I will make it as Omesh and then say save it. So this is the one auto shutdown to save the cost. Why the auto shutdown is there? We should be saving the cost on Azure. There are the other options of the webhook. This is also can be configured, but this is the automation is towards the very minimal efforts. So go to the task, which is the in the preview. Just go ahead and say add task. So in the add task, what exactly I want to do? I want to actually start the virtual machine. So download auto shutdown, you have done already. The power off is already done. But over here, you can also do it, but we have already done. So I will be explaining how you can actually start the virtual machine. Just say yes and continue. Just say authenticate. So it will ask me to connect. So I will connect it by the signing in. I will just sign it outside my because it has customer information. So I will just want to hide it from everyone. OK, so this is how my user ID is connected. And then I will say next configure. Now it is asking me that task name is this. I can make it I can make it more sensible. I will just say start. Sorry, it should be START. Okay, and then I will make it the time starting as starting at around 9 a.m. (09). Okay, and then the time zone. I will make the time zone as okay, and time zone as the IST. I can't press I and see whether India is there. Okay, can everybody see? Okay, let it be. I will just say Mountain Standard Time, and the interval is 1. Like I want daily startup, and every day frequency. I will just say frequency. I will just say on, and I will say notify me with the my name Umesh dot. Maybe I will use my personal ID or the corporate ID. Give me a minute. I will just copy paste it. And just say create. So every time on the morning it will start, and then it will turn off at night. Auto shutdown will appear at the IST time zone. Okay, so yeah, so by this I end up my session. I have done my session for the day. If you have any questions, the floor is open, and a big thank you for you to making this success. You have taken your time and you are attending. So from the personal time, so that's wonderful. Thank you for that once again.
Thank you very much, Umesh. That was a really wonderful session, and I think we have more questions before we close the session. I think Ashish, you want to ask something?
Hello, thank you, gentlemen. It was very good session. Thank you, Umesh. Just
Thank you, Ashish.
not a question. Just wanted to share an experience. I thought it is a little bit of worth here. So we had a project in Australian region, and this is on the on an LCS. Normally, it is very tightly with one domain. Okay. Now, what happened in this particular case is this project was already running into the US region, and customer for some reason wanted to use the same project in the Australian region, and it is not easy. There are you have to go and reach out to Microsoft. Only then they can support one project into multiple regions. I thought I should just let the audience know.
Yeah, that's very nice information. Thank you, Ashish.
Thanks, Ashish. Yeah, it's really painful if you have to change tenants mid project or post go live. So it is something we should check with the customers during project kickoffs. Yeah. Cool. Thank you. So I think there is one more question which we missed from Kunal.
Yeah.
Is the LCS configuration for SharePoint URL automatically populated in document management parameters, SharePoint online parameters? Umesh, do you have any thoughts around it?
Yeah, so the LCS SharePoint is more towards the LCS project only. When it comes to the document management, it is not auto-populated. You need to configure it manually.
Thank you, Umesh.
Hope that answers that question. Yeah, welcome.
Cool.
Okay, I think we have covered all the questions. If you have any question further, you can connect with Umesh. He's very active on LinkedIn and other social platform. Umesh, I think you also have your own blog.
Yes.
Right. I think you're also very active on that. So feel free to reach out to Umesh. He's very friendly, very cooperative person, and responds almost within a day.
Yes,
right. So guys, we have upcoming session now on 12th of September. We will talk about warehouse management overview from Prashant and Devashish. So warehouse management, you know, this is one of the most complicated module of FNO. So I think this is the right opportunity for you guys to learn and share this session with people who want to understand more on the warehouse. Right, and for you guys, if you want to speak in these sessions on any of the D365 topic, this is the opportunity. We call upon everyone. Just scan this QR code and you can submit your session. And if you don't want to speak, maybe you have some idea to make this session better, to make it more fruitful for the community, then feel free to submit your opinion, your views, or your rating maybe in general.
Thank you very
Right.
much, gentlemen. Thank you, Satya. Thank you, Rachit. I would be very keen to see if somebody can have an opinion about how to support Git on a VS on the LCS. That's the area. If somebody can propose some, that would be really good. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, Ashish. Point taken. We are actually working on that. So
Yeah.
it's on the pipeline. Yeah.
Yep. That would be a great one.
Yeah, thank you guys. Paresh and Rachit, if you have any closing comments, then definitely thank you, Umesh, for this wonderful session.
Yep. Welcome.
Yeah, just to reiterate, so this session was recorded. It will be available on the YouTube channel. Everything that we have said will be available in the links, and definitely you can always contact Umesh on through the groups. So also, since Ashish mentioned, we are also in the process of putting up request forms. So you can always request for the topics, and we have been receiving it. So that we can see a pattern. If there is a large chunk of requests, we can always take that, prioritize that as well. So do register for the event and look out for the next sessions in the group. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, guys.
Thank
Good
you.
Thank you,
evening,
everyone,
good night.
guys. Yeah. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Yeah.